Alright guys, welcome to the channel, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm just going to do a quick little video building this awesome Sand Viper. It's true what they say, good things do come in small packages. So this is an awesome two-wheel drive buggy from Tamiya. It comes fully bore raced, very much can be upgraded, lots of upgrades out there, and it can also handle a pretty hot motor. So it's on the DT-02 chassis. Not much to say about it really. Very nice racing buggy kind of finish, that sleek body shell. So let's jump straight into it, see what's in the box and start this build.
So here we go guys, here's what we get in the box. One upgrade that might be worthwhile doing on the kit is actually getting turnbuckles. Just gives you a little bit more of extra adjustability. But yeah, we've got upper and lower wishbones, our battery retainer, our wing mount, our C-hubs, our servo saver. Very simple but effective chassis with that rear mounted motor, our bumper, our gearbox casings, our front bumper, our rear wishbone, our oil filled shocks, which are kind of like a good initial upgrade for any car. Most cars these days come with oil filled shocks. There's our gearbox internals, our ball bearings, it does come ball raced, our bags A through to D, our springs and some of our hinge pins, our internal gears for the diffs, our ball joints, and that's pretty much it boys. Not much in this kit at all.
Right guys, so we're going to jump straight into step 2 and get that front end done. Shouldn't take us long. Then we're moving on to the C-hubs and getting the steering knuckles in. Let's do this. And there we go guys, step 1 done, that front end. Simple but effective design. Now we're moving on to step 3, which is starting them C-hubs, starting to get the steering put together. Yeah boys. And there we go, our front C-hubs with our steering knuckles. You can get aluminium upgrades for this, but I'm not 100% sure if it's necessary. You kind of like spread the load if you get a bit of start putting aluminium on the but for a basic kit like this, I don't really think it's necessary. One thing I mentioned in the previous clip, I didn't think you got upper turnbuckles, but you do. I was confusing it with the fighting buggy, that chassis, but this one, the Sand Viper, you do get turnbuckles. So yeah, but now we're moving on to step 4, which is getting our bumper on, our upper turnbuckles, and then we'll move on to step 5, which is the diff. And there we go guys, there's the front end done. Really cuts down on the build time when you've only got one gearbox to build. That's 1 through to step 4 done. Now we're moving on to step 5, which is getting that, starting that rear diff. Yeah, so we'll get the gearbox done in the next few steps. And there we go, there's our diff done. Pretty simple, pretty bulletproof though. Nice little geared diff, sealed. Yeah boys, now we're moving on to step 6, which is starting that counter gear. So we'll get our ball bearings in, nicely supplied by Tamiya. Pretty much uses all the same size bearings, this kit. Nice metal shielded bearings. There we go. So now moving on to step 7, which is getting it all in the gearbox. Plenty of grease in there. I tend to put a lot of grease in my gearboxes. Better to have too much grease than not enough. Kind of like money. There we go. So now we're getting it, get the gears into the diff, into the gearbox. Put your idle gear in. Clamp it together. And as simple as that, your gearbox is done. So now we've got to screw it up and it'll be good. So in the blink of an eye, the gearbox is done. All we've got to do now is get the motor in and the spare gear in. But yeah, lovely little design, simple gearbox, efficient. And there we go guys, here's our gearbox done, spare gear in. Only thing left to do now is put the motor in. So step 8, get the motor in. We're going to be putting a 12 turn brush motor in it just to see how it performs. So we'll get the motor in, get the spare gear cover on, and then that'll be the rear gearbox done. Yeah boys, so step 9, we're going to do up to step 9 next. And there we go guys, step 8 is done, a motor in. Now we're just getting the spare gear on, spare gear cover on, and that'll be done. And there we go guys, our gearbox finished in the blink of an eye. Looked really nice with that brush motor hanging out the back of it. So yeah, now we're moving on to step 10 through to 11, step 12 and step 13, which is basically getting the back suspension on, this back suspension arms. So yeah, once we do that, I'll be doing the shocks and then we'll get it all on the car most probably. So yeah, gonna move on to step 10 now and get the rear wishbones on. And there we go boys, our back end done. Simple design, keep on saying it, but yeah, it's always the simple things that are the best. So that is basically step 13 done. Interestingly enough, this kit doesn't come in step A, B and C, so you don't open bag A to do the first step. But I just tend to chuck it all in a box. So yeah, now we're moving on to the shocks boys, so we'll get the shocks on, then it'll be a case of putting the it all on the chassis, I would have thought. Yep. So yeah, move on to the shocks next. And there we go guys, in the flick of a cat's tail, that is the rear end done. So now we're moving on to step 14, which is starting the front and rear shocks. So we'll get the shocks built up, attach them to the front and rear of the sections of the car, and then we'll start on the chassis. Interestingly enough, this kit doesn't come in step A, B and C. It's not like a case of when you start you open bag A. It's all a bit mixed up, so I just tend to throw it all in the same box and just dig out the screws as and when required. So yep, now we're moving on to step 14, which is starting them shocks. Bit of a pain in the ass doing them, but yeah, once they're done, they're done. So yep, we'll do that next. So when you're doing the shocks, you've got to let them sit for a good amount of time just to get the bubbles out. Just gives you optimal performance. So I just tend to put the grease in, go and have a cup of coffee, and when I come back it'll be done. What you can do is you can move the piston rods up and down just to and you can see a big bubble popped up there. Just get some big bubbles out stuck underneath the pistons. Yeah, just let them sit. The job will be a good one. There we go, as easy as that. Very effective, efficient shock absorbers, these, cheap as chips. So now we're moving on to step 19, which is getting the rear ones on the shock tower and the front ones also on the shock tower. So do that next.
Oh, make a run for it.
And there we go. Our rear end finished. That's our front end, just the steering linkages to do next, but yep, there you go. So now we're on step 21, which is starting the chassis. So we're going to get the battery retainer on and the pin holder for the front battery retainer. So we'll get that on. There we go, battery retainer done. Nice simple hinge design. So next we're moving on to step 22, which is starting to get the electronics in. So yeah, we're going to center up the servo, get the servo arms on and get it all into the chassis. And then it will be a case of just bolting the gearboxes on and the car will be done, boys. So we'll wire it up next. I'll do that off camera because we've got to do a bit of soldering. So when you come back, the servo saver will be on, the servo will be neutralised, and we'll get ready to put it in the car. Here we go guys, electronics in. I'll clean up all the wires when as the final step, just tidy everything up. But yeah, that's where I'm going to place everything. Plenty of room in the chassis. Yep. So that's step 27 done. Now we're moving on to the best part, which is 28 and 29, which is getting the front and back end on. So we'll start with step 28 and get that front end on. There we go. Front end of the car done, really starting to look like something now. Get the back end done and that'll be the chassis practically finished. There you go. Car's finished, just get that front body mount on, then the wheels, and then it's just a case of doing the body, tidying up the electrics, and the job's a good one. There you go guys, that is the chassis done. Really enjoyable kit, and it's not challenging whatsoever. You just got to be careful with the plastics a little bit because they are a little bit soft, but that makes them flexible and durable. So yeah, just go easy on the screws. Make sure you get them the shock pistons on the right shocks or you'll have all kinds of problems. But yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, just waiting for the wheels to come now from Tony's Tamiya parts. I'll probably do the body later on tonight. I'm in work this afternoon, so I'll come back this afternoon and we'll get the body done. So yeah, happy days. And here we go guys, I'm gonna call that finished. I was waiting for the blue wheels to come, and they come. Wing is second hand because I was spraying the wing at 9 o'clock at night in the pitch black, and I've got runs all over the wing, so I'm gonna get another one of these. I think the black wing kind of gives it a right racing feel, but yeah, I'm happy with that. It's not perfect, but it's turned out pretty all right. I'm made up with that. So yeah, awesome kit. How sporty does that look? So yeah, got that 12-turn motor in it. So yeah, it's got that 12-turn motor in it. Should be quite fast. We'll take it out with Steph tomorrow. So if you're tuned into this video, thanks for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed this build, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah.